Hey Facebook, happy Thursday! Welcome! As you guys are jumping on, let me know that you are here. Say hi, send me the love bombs. I am I'm about to dive into a deep dive 2-hour session with one of my VIP clients, which I'm super excited about. So I don't have a lot of time, but I really wanted to dive on here and have a chat about this because it is so important and so crucial that you understand this, yeah? Hey Brianna, awesome. As you guys are jumping on, make sure you say hi if you're watching the replay. Let me know you're here watching the replay. So the title of this live stream is You Are Messing Up Your Existence Because You Are Wired for Survival. Right? So let me explain this. And it's so important that you understand this if you are truly going to shift and set yourself free from your internal demons and the internal limitations and the internal blocks that you carry, that you create on a daily basis that are literally stopping you from calling in what you desire, right? Now, as human beings, our natural state is abundance, and this is something that I say all the time. Our natural state is actually abundance, right? So any form of suffering or struggle experience is in fact unnatural. Now, a lot of the time it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary. But if you are living in a state right now where you are surviving, if you are in a place right now where you are suffering or you are struggling to call in what you desire, to call in abundance, if your internal programming is stopping you and keeping you paralyzed, it is not normal. Your natural state is abundance. Your natural state is freedom, is liberation. In your natural state, you are able to call in what you desire with ease, with flow. A heckload of inspired action, but it's meant to flow. The universe, angels, source, God, whatever you're connected to, wants you to be in abundance, wants you to live in abundance. So our natural state is abundance, but we are wired for survival. Now, when we take it right back to the Stone Ages, when we take it right back to our ancestors, and I'm talking like right back, what did they do? What was their number one priority? It was to survive. Their number one priority was to survive. I'm talking about, like I said, Stone Ages. I'm talking about, cavemen, tribes, right? Out in nature, in the bush. That's how they used to live. And their number one priority was to survive. And that's what they did. Now, in order to survive, what did they have to do? Their brain had to be wired to look for fear. Their brains had to be wired to look for danger. Because if they didn't have this heightened awareness, if they didn't wire themselves internally to be aware of when danger and fear was present, then they wouldn't have survived, right? So do you understand what I mean when I say that this is how we're actually wired? It's not our natural state, but it's how we are wired. Now, from caveman days and tribal days, that carried on to our ancestors, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and beyond them. And over the years, over the centuries, over the decades, this has just been carried on through our lineage. Survive, 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 survive. Look for fear, survive. Save yourself, survive. And this is why we struggle to live in a place of joy. This is why we struggle to live in a space of abundance. Because whilst you want abundance, whilst you want ease and flow, whilst you want all these things that you desire, your default, you are wired to look for things that could create fear, to look for things that could potentially harm you physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, right? And because we are so wired to live in a space of survival, it takes our fear, because we are constantly in this heightened awareness of looking for fear, and that completely takes away our joy. And this is why people have so much resistance to live in a space of joy. We all know that when we live in joy, we all know that when we live in a space of joy, joy is a high vibration. When we live in joy, when we live in gratitude, we call in what we desire. We create what we desire because it is a high vibration. Yet how many, send me the love bombs, give me a heck yes below if this is you, when we do allow ourselves to live in a space of joy, we actually fear that. We're like, oh, don't live in joy for too long. Don't experience this happiness for too long, because it may get taken away from you. It may mean that you're going to lose love. It may mean that you're going to lose connection. It may mean that you are in danger. So make sure you don't stay in joy for too long, because you might miss something that's going to come along and harm you. So we are so wired to live in fear. We are so wired to buy into our fear and our limitations and our beliefs. This is where the safety comes from. This is why you hear me say all the time, and other people that teach this in different ways, the reason you hold on to your internal beliefs and limitations and blocks subconsciously is because you are protecting yourself. You are trying to keep yourself safe because you are in survival. And survival, your survival mode is switched on. You are stopping yourself from living in joy. You are stopping yourself from being able to surrender and live in joy, to live in a space of gratitude. This is not our natural state. It is meant to be our natural state, but this is not the natural state that we choose, is what I should say. We don't choose this natural state because from our ancestors, from lineage, we have carried on. We need to survive. Look out for things, predators that could potentially harm your existence. And that space, living in that space, I can see comments coming through. I'm going to get to them in a second. Living in that space is going to completely sap you from your happiness, from your joy, from gratitude. It's like we live in this, it's like we feel joy, we feel happiness, we feel peace for a limited time, and then boom, this is unsafe. Let me jump into survival. Let me look for fear. Let me create fear. Let me create a situation where I have to protect myself, where I have to make sure that I'm safe, that I'm okay. This is why we keep messing up our existence. This is why we struggle to stay in joy. I'm not saying we are all human beings. We are going to feel pain. We are going to feel struggle. We are going to be faced with challenges. Like I said at the beginning, sometimes it's necessary for our growth. Sometimes it's necessary in our existence. But we are suffering not because of the challenges that come up, not because of the fear that we face sometimes. We are suffering because we choose to stay there. Because we're living in survival. Brianna says, wow, that's trippy. Totally understand survival mode has been dominating for centuries. Absolutely, it totally has. Saying all good things must come to an end. Yeah, and quite frankly, I think that is a load of BS. Not all good things must come to an end at all. But like you said, Brianna, that's how we're wired. That's what we are taught to believe. This is why we are always in survival. And when we are in survival, we are not in the present moment. We are not experiencing joy. We are not operating from a place of flow. We are not a clear channel for what we want. We are a repellent. We repel what we want when we are in survival. So what I want to say to you is, where do you need to just let go? Where do you need to just chill out? Where do you need to trust more? Where do you need to give yourself permission to experience more joy? And where are you in survival mode in your life right now? If you weren't in survival mode right now in your life, if you weren't in that space and in that energy, where would you be letting go? Where would you be sitting back? Where would you be trusting more? Because I can promise you, the more you allow yourself to sit in joy, the more you give yourself permission to know that it's safe to experience joy, to let go, to feel gratitude for extended periods of time, the more you are going to create the space to call in what you actually want. Does this make sense? And this is the stuff that I support people with. So I'm about to do a deep dive with a private client very soon. Like I said, 2-hour session, I'm deep diving with her. And we're going to look at all the areas that she's in survival. We're going to look at energetically where it's at in her body. Then we're going to look at where does she want to be and what do we need to do to get her there. What is the layers? You know, over the last couple of days, she's been seriously peeling back these subconscious layers. And she's messaging me every day like, oh my gosh, this has come to my awareness. This has come to my awareness. This has come to my awareness. Because I'm helping her. I'm helping her peel off this mask, these layers. It's like an onion. I picture it like an onion, right? That's what I'm sort of picturing. It's like an onion. First layer comes off. Second layer comes off. There's layers to our subconscious beliefs, right? And there's a process that needs to be followed to get there. Tearing up as you ask those questions. Yeah, like really let yourself sit with this. Really let yourself sit with this because it's a serious epidemic. Like the toilet paper at the moment, right? We have a toilet paper epidemic issue going on right now. And we have the same issue here. In fact, this is exactly why we don't have toilet paper at the moment. Because people live in friggin' fear and survival. This is a perfect example. This is why we don't have toilet paper right now. Because people are carrying on their ancestral lineage and fear. And we all turn into sheep. I was not going to get on here and talk about toilet paper, but somehow we're heading that way, so we're going that way, right? But this is a prime example of how we're wired for survival. This is how all of Australia is operating right now. This is why you're not seeing toilet paper on your shelf, because we're all in survival. Because of it's like, oh my gosh, there's danger. What do I need to do to protect myself? And we're all in fear, and then we wonder why we all create what we don't want. Why we're all trapped. It's time to get rid of this. And I am such a stand for this. I am such a stand for women and men stepping out of this fear, this survival, this subconscious trap and suffering and jail that we keep ourselves in. No more. I've been there. I know what it's like. to be in suffering. I know what it's like to feel like the victim. I know what it's like to feel like you don't have control, and I don't mean control in a negative way, to feel like we're not empowered to shift, to feel like we are a product of our circumstances and our environment. We are not. We get to change this. We get to shift this. But we need to do the work. And if you're not prepared to do the work, things aren't going to shift. I get really passionate about this because I was that person who was the victim in my life. Everything's happening to me. This person's the reason I can't do that. This person's the reason I can't have this. That person's the reason this has happened. Blah, 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 blah. Victim, victim, victim. Disempowering myself. Thinking that I was a victim to my circumstances and I couldn't do anything about it. Until I had enough. I literally had enough. I hit my breaking point of I am so sick and tired of repeating the same cycles. I am so sick and tired of being unhappy. I am so sick and tired of feeling unfulfilled. I am so sick and tired of feeling powerless. Like I cannot create what I desire. You can, and this is what I am a stand for. Helping you clear this, just about to swear then, I'm not going to because Facebook doesn't like that. Clear the stuff that is going on in here and it's messing up your existence. It's time to end it. And there will come a point where you have enough. There will come a point where you are sick and tired of getting in your own way. Just don't sit in there for another 12 months, another 2 years, another 3, 4, 5. It's time to do the work now. Now is the time to do the work. Your life is happening now, right? So reach out if you're ready to do the work, the real work. Yeah? Reach out. I will leave my calendar link below this video, wherever it is. I may even put it in the comments for you. Book in a 15-minute Rising Queen call with me. Let's have a chat. Let's see where you're at, right? On this call, I will meet you where you are at and I will show you what needs to be shifted, what needs to shift for you, what needs to be cleared, why are you getting in your way, and then I will invite you to work with me. But you've got to be prepared to invest and do the work. It's as simple as that. Okay? Sending you all lots of love. Have an incredible rest of your day, and I will chat to you all soon. Mwah. Bye.